Well, after being reasonably pleased with the finish I got on this thing, my practice dummy adapter, even though I didn't go all the way down and wipe out the countersinks, I got carried away, went ahead and chucked up the real one and cleaned it up, turned it down, made a mess. There's a, probably can't see here, there's a pile of, there you go, box full of steel shavings, stainless shavings. Anyway, I'm going to take it off because I got it to the final dimensions that I'd drawn up. Yeah, you'd think a guy that uses CAD at work would do more than just play with hand sketches, but hey, whatever works. Anyway, after I flip it over, I'll clean up the outer edge, turn it flush, get rid of those water jet marks. I'm going to call it a night and let everything cool down, recheck my measurements before I pull it off the chuck, and then work on it some more tomorrow. Okay, well, I decided I'd let you watch me take this thing apart after all. And while I've got the chuck off, I'll probably clean it up take it apart and clean it up real good. I'm not a clean freak, but I've decided that whenever I switch between materials, maybe I'll clean out the chuck as well. One crazy thing I've decided to do is save up all the shavings and chips and recycle them. Of course, I'm not going to make any money off of it because I'm going to recycle it the lazy way and take it to work and dump it in their recycle boxes. Figure it's only fair. I get basically free material like these discs that I made, and now I find out how well that registers. Oh, look at that. That is just absolutely perfect. Maybe a little too tight. Anyway, where's my, let's turn it around. That's the whole pattern. Attempt to match the whole pattern. Oh, looky there. And just to show you, oh, there's no screws. I've got some countersunk screws that I will be using. Let's see if I can get that. Come on now. Maybe I didn't have it lined up very well after all. Are these, no, those are big enough. Ah, that's the problem. I need to chase the holes. A little bit of goop. Alright. Let me pause the camera see if I can clean up the little, whatever you call it, chips. Anyway, back in a minute. Alrighty, well, I used my deburr tool, or countersink tool, to deburr the edges. Just barely touched it to knock off the fuzz. So now the screws go all the way through. And once again, just lining up the holes. Boy, that is a tight fit. And my screws aren't long enough. Ha! Well, and more or less just making sure that all the holes line up right now anyway. I am going to countersink these down below the surface, so hopefully I'll be able to get the screw all the way through. So let's put that right there. Oh yeah, I got at least 3 threads if I countersink it enough. So that will be next, is countersinking my holes. Alright, I ran into a small problem. Apparently I didn't make this registration face deep enough. This is like 0.13 off of this face, and I only went down like 0.8 or 0.9 for my calipers. See what we got here. .82. So, and just so you can see, it's, well, 115. I wiggled it. There we go. 0.13. 120. Okay. Anyway, let's try that on a couple of different faces. Maybe the registration isn't square all the way around. 115. Of course, that could be my own method of measuring. Not holding it perfectly square. 115. Now I'm really curious. So maybe it's good I got about 40 thousandths clearance, because if this face isn't square and that face. Oh, and I only know of one way to check it since I don't have a mount for my dial calipers yet. Okie dokie, I found my cheap ass Chinese dial indicator and stuck a bolt on it so I can rig a clamp, which means that I really got to buy more tool holders. For this quick change tool post. Yeah. This is something I've never done before, is see what kind of run out I actually have on the spindle. I mean, I know it's a cheap Chinese lathe, piece of crap. I wonder, that work better? No, the head's too big. Alright, so it's not the head, it's the washer. Anyway, there we go. That should hold it. Now let's run on up here. See if I run out of rack again. Yep, run out of rack. So Don't know if you can see the wheel move, but that. Lock it. Pull it back to take out the slack. Oh, sweet. I'm getting maybe a quarter to a half thou on that register. So come out here, I'm going to have to come out to where I can clear the holes. Zero that with my handy compound. And I'm getting about a quarter to a half thou. So that's not too terrible. Go away. Alrighty. So I get to remount the chuck, and using my handy dandy dial indicator, I want to take this space in at least to 110, which means since I had this space butted up against the chuck itself, against the jaws of the chuck, and I ran it right down to the jaws, so I'm going to have to put some spacers and dial it in. Thank you to my 3 machining instructors, Mr. Pete, Tubal Kane, however he prefers to be known, Keith Fenner, and Double Boost, John, Bastard John. Everybody, even though he says he's not going to be known that way anymore, I guess I shouldn't have called him that. Oh! Oh, damn it. Alright. Stupid little thing. Okay, so this face keeps it centered, this face actually registers, which sort of makes sense. There's my number 1. One thing I've decided to do is use that to line up with my number 1 jaw, more or less, so that it always goes back in the same position. Don't know if that's really the proper way to do things, but at least it'll be consistent in my mind. I really need to tight those studs in place. I'll do that next time I clean it. Yay. Right there. Because the worst thing about this little spindle mount is you're relying on some loose studs and some nuts that just barely catch. I guess I should have said Ford instructors. I forgot about my Ford boy. Although I mainly consider him my casting there we go. Alright, now the fun really begins. Since I have not made John's little cheater bearing thing yet, I have several potential come on. I'm just barely grabbing this now so I can get a little extra depth. Alright. There we go. Move it to 0. Actually, let's go ahead and take that. Let's go to there. Maybe you'll actually see the dial move. There we go. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. Set that to 0. There you'll actually see the needle. Wow! 15 thousandths out of alignment. So, there's a shallow end. I know this is not the proper way to do it, guys, but it's what I'm doing. Wow. Well, that's got it down under 5 thou. Let's go ahead and run that back to 0. See where we are. There's a little 0 there. About 4 thou off. Oops, wrong way. Now, getting closer. Oh, too far. just my poor milling. Okay, I've got it down within 3. Okay, that's 2 thousandths. I'm going to call that close enough. And we're still off a little bit, but we're within 3 thousandths. Considering the tooling and the lathe, it's probably as accurate as I'm going to be able to get. Alright, so there we're squared back up so I can make that thing deeper.